Start recording. Today is Sunday the 7th, I believe. Yes, May 7th. All right. Let's start by recapping the week. Last week, we'll take out all the lines. Friday's ending was fantastic. So the weekly candle. So we're looking at the SPY daily. By the way, the videos in the description below, like last week, to make it easier to navigate the videos. I'm putting the tickers in alphabetical order the way they show up in the video. So and they're alphabetically anyway, so from A to Z, and 2 videos are going to be broken up. Each one will have the tickers of it and what's inside of it. This way you can scroll through to find the tickers that you're interested in. Only 100. Yeah. Yes, only 100. Okay, so this is last week, pretty much. And so from the scoreboard, nothing has changed. Meanwhile, we found out that maybe we have a banking crisis. Maybe we don't. Look at this weekly candle. I mean, wow. I'm not an expert at reading candles, but I'll tell you that 2 weeks back to back, we had extreme scares, almost identical. And both weeks they were rejected in a massive way. And the way we closed on Friday, last week, the entire week. So we opened here, we rallied more than the week prior, which was pretty bullish. And we got scared just as much. And then we closed above the open of 2 weeks ago. And the close of any other close before that. Since, oh my gosh, this one. August. That is an interesting statement. So last week's close, this Friday, was the biggest since this one, last August. That's pretty bullish. So unless we have something that comes up on Sunday night, tonight, or Monday or Tuesday out of nowhere, we have the CPI at some point, but I don't know how interesting that number is now. Anyway, this is not a bearish scoreboard. The QQQ are confirming the breakout by closing above anything. Also since last August. So we do have the IWM, which is, somebody's asking, what is the IWM? It's a basket of 2,000 smaller stocks. So the other two are breaking out, and these cannot hold the floor. That is not correct. One of these two is going to change drastically. Either this one's going to have a massive rally, which is why I'm holding calls, and I've defended them several times, including Monday, or the other ones are going to have a correction. And these can drop 8 to 10%. So the other ones will probably drop 15% because they are so high. That's the big picture. So this week could be do or die to a degree. Let's jump into the tickers we're talking about. All right, we'll jump into Apple. We'll keep it on the weekly basis. Audio is here. Let's see here. Maybe this will help you. Let me double check my settings. No, I got the right microphone. Okay, so somebody's having a hard time. All right, good, Vilma. All right, so this is Apple weekly. Each one of these candles is a full week, going into a pretty bad week from, guess what, August of last year. And before that, March and February. And before that, December of the year prior. So look how close we are to an all-time high. I mean, that is insanity. From a closing basis, Apple's close on Friday was 3.5% from the highest weekly close ever. The bears are in trouble. They need a shoe to drop. This is an inverse head and shoulders. This is about the target of that. So everything points to this here is not an obvious entry point on the daily basis. So if somebody says, I'm accumulating Apple as an investment for the long term, I would say maybe this is not the right time. I don't go long a stock that just is coming into a prior fail that failed so badly. So the way I would do it as a trader, buy the dip, any dip, into prior support. Supports can be around 163 or better yet 156. If it falls to 144, I'm going to be also interested in it from different time frames. If I'm investing for the long term, this is not a place where I take a full-size position. I wouldn't even nibble for me because I'm long other things. I don't know much about this guy. Technically speaking, on a daily chart, it looks like it's satisfying this red W you see. Technically, they were double touching this, which is about target 1 of this pattern. These are called harmonics. Target 2 would be below 20. So if it comes down to 20 or lower, it becomes much more interesting. Maybe 22 or lower. So I want them to come down to this weak point here before I get interested in it as a trader. Shorter term, it looks like they have sellers into 30. 30, 31 is going to be difficult. So the battle is, can they take out 30, 31, 32 to negate that idea that I have? Or are they going to lose this finally and come down to a buyable zone, which is the weak part here? Again, these are trading comments, not investment. The investment part is on you, and also the earnings part is on you. I wouldn't touch this. I did trade it for us successfully. This is a headline stock. It was buyout, not buyout, fraud, not fraud. I don't know. If you know the company, it's pretty small with regards to sales, and it spends a lot. I'm long Palantir, which reports earnings this week. They kind of in the same circle, artificial intelligence. Echo 1 second. I'll go back to that. I just saw it. So the idea here is it's not for me. But as a trader, I would look for it to hold 16.8. If not, it can come down to 14 or 12. Anything into 22, 21, 22 should be met with hard selling. Let's see. Gut says it goes lower. So I'm not an investor. As a trader, I prefer Palantir. It has a bigger book of sales, and it has been around for a lot longer. Okay, somebody's asking, where would I sell puts to own for Apple to own shares? So if I already have shares in Apple, I don't know if I want to add any shares, but it's a valid question. I wish I had seen it earlier, so it'd be in the video in the right order. If I wanted to own shares of Apple, there's a way to get into it through options and leave room for error. So instead of buying shares at the face value here, I sell puts below, which commits me to buying shares at a lower price. For that commitment, they pay me money, and if price doesn't go there, I keep the money, so I make money without even owning shares. But if the buyer of those puts wants to, they can give me their shares at the price we agreed upon. So I would be long at a lower price, and they would be out. Everybody's happy. So where, as an investor, I'd want it below 160 for myself. Depends on the time frame. If you're actively trading, I'll definitely go into the low 60s. But if it's a long shot, like out in time, and it would not be a full size order, it will be a half size. All right, we'll jump to ALB. Hopefully that answers, now that earnings are out of the way. You can tell here who's in charge on the 2-hour frame. I would not look to buy, get long, until they tell me that this rally is not like this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, which they all led to. So they rally and looks like this is it. They're out of the woods, and then they come back and make a lower low. They rally, they come back and make a lower low. They're rallying. Maybe they come back and make a lower low. That's been going on for a while. Oh goodness, yeah, for a long while. So when do they stop? Whenever they find a support level that they like. This whole zone between 190 and 135, there is a support level. Volume-wise, probably around 160. So support should be close, but I don't know what happened here. So there's a weak spot in the volume. You know, there is a head and shoulder, a bunch of them. So if the market corrects, this one can be in the low 100s. So if I'm long, I'm not adding. If I'm looking to go long, I will take maybe a half position, maybe, or sell a put to buy shares. Usually, when do I have confidence that the bottom is in? Like in this case, if this had taken this out and gotten to here, then maybe this rally would have been different than this one. If this rally here takes these out and gets to 200, maybe this rally is not going to come back and make a lower low. So there are little hints, body language. Applied material, into these two peaks, it's not for me. I think it is going to find sellers. If you look at it, if you draw a line right here, maybe I do have lines. No, vulnerable, look at that. I wish I had traded that arrow. If you draw a line, if you draw a box here, and you split the box in half, you see that? That's half right there. Usually, you know, when you trade above, you fall below, you can't recover, that becomes the problem. And if you do come across it, I mean, go above it, you get to 122, repeat the problem on a bigger scale. So not an easy long here, maybe on a dip down to 114 or 112. If for some reason it loses 108, this thing will be under 100. That's not my forecast, what I'm telling you. And don't think just because of it might be the environment it's trading in. Like the market might correct and it will go there too. AMD, it had some sort of an AI news last week, which kind of pumped up the stock and dropped NVIDIA for a second. People are so stupid that are trading headlines like that. It's silly, seriously. So the danger is that AMD, if it doesn't take out 92, it may revert to 82, and if it loses 82, it could go back to the 70s. This is a scenario that has low odds, but this is the same scenario that took it from 108 down to 40s or whatever it was. So be careful. And this is the earnings reaction candle. So anything inside this box is going to be a big fight until they take it out. So until they go above 92 and hold it, I wouldn't add to my longs. I could sell puts or put spreads on dips, but not into resistance. Good company. I'm just talking about price action. AMGN looks pretty interesting. It looked yesterday, I mean Thursday, pretty interesting. It was one on my list to trade. It rallied a lot since then, 3 or 4%. So into 240, it has resistance. If they take out 242, they might get another $5-6 out of it. As an investment though, if somebody was investing in it and they got long into this area, I like it. I would stop out below this. I don't know where they want to go, but it seems like it has a good P&L, and it fell into pretty strong support. Like this one, hard bounce, hard bounce. This candle says no, we don't want to be anywhere near here, so I would consider all of this as a hard bounce. Same with this one. So hard bounces end up being trap doors, but losing this one brings it down to here. And what kind of a stock market would that be? This good stock that doesn't have a problem in the P&L that's apparent falls 20% from here. That means the S&P is also correcting. All right, Amazon. I've expressed me being upset with this candle because it puts a giant concrete roof above this stock. It's very difficult to break out of a candle like this. I mean, it's stuck in a zone. It is a value stock, basically because of the growth, but now it does not have growth, which worries me a little bit. It's kind of I don't want to do anything with it. But if the markets are higher in the future, so is Amazon. So if somebody wants to nibble on the stock, that's fine. Going all in, not fine. Selling put spreads, yes. Selling puts to own shares, yes. Iron condors may even work. Covered calls, selling covered calls would work. But there's nothing to be done here. You have a base below and a hard seller above. So on dips, I would do credit put spreads. On rips, maybe I'll marry it with a credit call spread. But there's not a lot of investing ideas into it right now. Long term, fine. Even then, I wouldn't do all of it. ANET, we caught the falling knife and the trade is evenish. I'm fine with it. I think it's a little bit profitable. So if somebody was nervous about it, then they could buy it back to close the position. My bet was that support will hold. I forgot what level I was at. So I cannot remember. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, if it loses 129, it might come down to 115 or 112, but that 129 area looks like pretty decent support, so we'll see. Look, it was an area that was a problem. They took it out, stayed a problem. They took it out, bounced off of it, and here they are bouncing off of it. But I can tell you there's resistance into 148. So this rally will find sellers and will be the danger to curl back down. So book profits, and at the sign of trouble, I would exit that. I don't know the company very well, but somebody asked about it, and so we traded it for them. APL. Apollo Global Management. I don't know what they do. Asset management, so like Blackstone. All right, so it has a bounce and a bounce below that. So if it doesn't find support at 56, 55, it will find it around 51, 46. Let that be your guide. It has a lot of sellers into 64 and 66. Above 66, it can probably revisit that area. Not a lot of information here. Earnings are coming, so flip a coin on that. Reaction to the earnings is going to be binary. So here it was a dip and a recovery and then an eventual dip. Here was a rip. Here was a nothing and then it ripped afterwards. Dip and then a rip. So it looks like the earnings is just a hiccup. If you want to own shares and you want to sell puts into the earnings at the risk of getting assigned, I guess maybe that'd be okay. Aries. Let's take out this overnight stuff, regular hours. There we go, less noise. Capital Corporation. Yeah, I don't know what these guys do. It looks like they fell apart, they found support, they tried to recover, they did well, and now they're stuck. So anything above 1850 looks like very difficult. Look at how many failures. So watch for that number. 1860 would give you a good, even though there's that one, this gives me good confidence that they're going to give this one a good shot. And on the dip, maybe they hold that 1780. What you don't want is them going lower than here. Then this becomes a total roof. Do I want to get long here? If I'm long, I'm not adding. If I wanted to get long, maybe. Maybe you could convince me, but I don't know anything about the company. ARKF. Okay, so stay away from banks altogether. That is my attitude right now. I did well catching the falling knife on FRC 3 times, and the 4th time bit me clearly. I'll probably get assigned shares. Overall, it was a small scratch. The 2 losses I had this year were 2 banks, so I'm done with the banks. They can go screw themselves. That's my concept. And this is an ETF about banks, right? Fintech. I am long fintech, the general idea. I do trade it, and I've shared it with you. We've traded American Express and MasterCard several times. I believe Visa as well. We've traded PayPal and Square. I am long Square through sold puts that I shared recently several times. So I would rather use those than use this one. Sorry. I don't know anything about ARK anymore. I don't track what she does. I don't care what she does. I feel like I have better information on individual stocks. Square had a scare recently because of a headline. It fell into it and it bounced, and then now I think it's drifting somewhere down there. So I believe in support rather than take the ARKF. Figure out what's in it before you invest in it. Look at the top 10. This one particularly, yes, I drew this upside scenario, but that's not easy. I'm showing that there's a lot of resistance here and a lot of support here. So ping pong inside of those two until one of those gets broken. So if they break through the green arrow line first, maybe they get to 20. And if not, they lose support, they get to the 15. I don't think they should get to the 15.8 or 16. I think they're stuck here for a bit and they will chase markets. Probably exactly the same comments here. So check this out. I drew this, I forgot when, that this would be a good entry with a stop loss. Look how well this worked out for whoever did it. I don't remember doing it. This was the target profit zone. This was the stop zone. That was a perfect trade. This can end up at 40 based on that target 2 from this green harmonics. But for me, in this tactical environment, I would be out. I would imagine that this is going to be an area of difficulty. There's a lot. And look, it's been a pivot for a long time. It's been resistance for a while. They broke through it, yes, but it's still, I think this is still resistance here. Support is confirmed. So the next dip into 35, somebody should get long. In fact, I will put an arrow here. Okay. ASML, not an obvious entry point. That's off the top of my head right there. It could get to 670, but it's not an obvious entry point. In fact, this target of breaking through here is probably 670. So you could get $15, but it would be labored. And if I wanted to shoot for that, get it on a dip. So if it gets down to 645, 642, get long into that, above this basically, to try and do that. And this one will also follow the markets. ASO falling into support. Let's see if it holds. If this support fails at 60, it probably will end up at 58, which has better support through 56. Having said that, you're going to have sellers into 64 and 65. Technically speaking, you're stuck between pretty good support and what looks like going to be pretty strong resistance. ATD. Is this it? What the heck is this? It's delayed. Okay, so that's not for me, whatever this is. Maybe there's something else that I'm missing. ATD. No, it looks like Canadian company. Okay, we'll go with it. Yep. A lot of insider buying on the regionals. Okay, that's a good sign on banks. Thanks, Echo. All right, 66 is a line in the sand. You lose it, you come down to this area. You take this out, 68.5, you go to 71, maybe even 72. Boeing, there was a specific question on Boeing. I forgot what it was. Shoot, let me go see if I can find it real quick. Boeing, I understand Boeing. I'm looking for a bounce, go long. Right now I have puts. I will add if it fails. You have puts. I assume you sold puts. I have puts. You guys need to tell me if you bought. I have puts means you bought puts. If you bought puts, I would exit. You're falling into support. If you sold puts, I'm fine with it. Boeing has been stuck in a range for a long time. I did a video on it and somebody took offense to that statement. I'm not sure because I called it stuck in muck, which is what it is. This is what is stuck in muck looks like, which is a great thing for somebody that sells credit. You sell a credit put spread, you sell a credit call spread, everybody wins until it's stuck in, for as long as it's stuck in muck. Super strong support, super strong resistance. I don't anticipate anything happening. I don't need to check the financials. You do your homework on the financials. I don't trade anything that says delayed because that means it's got special circumstances, and I'm not interested in trading options on special circumstance stocks. So you want me to look at it from here? Okay, so it's financial. The P&L looks fine. I didn't look at cash or anything. Baba, if this stock, I don't want to trade Chinese companies, but this looks like a long with a stop. So my bet would be a bounce, but I would stop out if it falls below 80, 79.5. I don't know how low it goes. There should be sellers. This might be a different company now. I used to say it's an excellent company, but I don't know. I think the Chinese government made them break it up into pieces. I'm not sure what's left. What are they allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? I think they have resistance everywhere. Target 1 could be $91, so worth a shot, but as a trade, not as an investment. Bank of America, worth a shot as a trade, not as investment. I think Bank of America, if it loses the low it just placed recently, it can go to the low 20s where it would make much more sense. Now I have to tell you, I don't know when the debt ceiling debate is coming. I've been saying the debt ceiling debate is not an issue for years because it has been here for years. If this is going to be like that one time where they threw us off the fiscal cliff, we might default on our debt. And that's a conversation I don't want to have here, but I can tell you that the consequences are devastating to the point where you need to go to Costco and shop for food and toilet paper, like now. Because if that happens, the world will change forever. And it's that serious, in my estimate, because it's never happened before. Anything that's never happened before has serious consequences. So these banks will be the ones in the trenches. I'm not investing in banks, period. So as a trader, I'm interested in this support level, and I would be disinterested if below it. As an investor, I would be interested down here, provided the fiscal cliff doesn't come. So these are the dumbest politicians in our history, in my history, and I don't want to underestimate stupidity. It's as simple as that. It's not a political statement, it's a fact. So my take is I'm stepping away from banks for a while. BIDU, same comments as Baba as far as fundamentals. I don't know what's in it. I did trade it recently. I don't remember what, probably credit put spread. It does have support scattered, but it could just as well be at 100 or 98 as it could be at 140. So getting long here, you're ignoring all the sellers. And look how choppy it is. So the chart is not really good for comments because I don't have conviction when there's this many holes in the chart. From levels perspective, I can tell you 140 should be bulletproof, like concrete. And if it falls into 100 or 99, it should be a good thing to buy, get long. But I won't trade it. What is this? Biorad. The day, okay, they reported and somebody didn't like what they reported. Let's step out a little bit. All right, so if you know this company and you know that the P&L did not change and this is a disappointment on something stupid like a forecast, look at this and trade that. So if I'm long and it's falling into something like this, it's too late to panic. Give it a shot. Yep. So it's falling into pretty strong support. If for some reason the 343 fails, it probably goes to the 260, 270, maybe even lower. But that's not my forecast. Usually when I see a stock that I'm tracking and that I know and it falls into support, I'd be looking to catch the falling knife. I don't know the fundamentals here, so you should do homework. That doesn't look pretty good. Yeah, this would be a trade, not an investment. So if I'm long here, I'm not adding here. If I'm looking to get long against this, that's fine. Wow, these obscure tickers, people. Engages managed public and private investment products. Okay, another investment company. Oh boy. All right. This is in the hands of the sellers. Lower highs, lower lows. I would assume that this is going to trickle down and make a lower low. That's what has been happening until they prove to me otherwise. How? When they take out 33.5, sign 1. When they get to 35 and fall to 33.5 and come back to 35, then they've placed the bottom. Otherwise, rally, sold, a new low. Rally is being sold. Is it going to make a new low? We'll see. Rally, sold, new low. Look at it. Yeah, don't trust it until they actually show you progress against prior fails. All right, so this is an exaggeration. What the hell happened here in 2020? Look at the spike before the pandemic. What did they finance Bill Gates? Who is this? Wow. Okay, so what's going on here? This is an interesting story here. Look at this. If you want a value, 27.2. That's going to be a battle there if they get there. That is an interesting chart. Speaking of interesting, this guy, you've heard of him. He knows how to invest in money, in companies. This is Berkshire. Believe it or not, I believe this is the biggest component of the XLF, the banking ETF. It has support through 300. I don't like to invest in a company, I've said it 100 times, where the name of the company is one guy and his backup guy, they're both on their way out. So at some point they're going to say they're no longer involved with the company, and that's not going to be a pretty sight for the shares. I know they have a backup plan and all of that, but on dips, I would be interested. Up here, not for me. So if we have a crisis and everything crashes, this will be a stock you can buy blindly because all the businesses they own are bulletproof. This guy does not invest in crappy businesses. So is that what they had, an all-day meeting yesterday? Yeah. So any of their companies you can invest in blindly, and the collection of their companies you can't. So if we have a correction, put this on your shopping list. Then you don't have to do homework as to, hey, is this business good? that homework is done. This business is good, whatever they hold, except for ARCC. But that's okay. That's my opinion. So as far as levels, let's see here. If it loses 318, it probably comes down to the low 300s. That would make a good spot. Anywhere down here, of course. And if it's below here, then the S&P is probably below 3,000 or close to it. Bitcoin. Somebody asked me, why do I think it's going to 42 or 45? Because I thought it was going to 19 from 67. So it's just charts. I put this ghost pattern to see if it tracks it. I forgot what it looks like. Let's see here. Okay, so that's my ghost pattern. So far, so good. It's coming along. I'm not taking my longs out. I have longs in BIDU, which is Bitcoin, but in the real world, regular world of trading. And I have investments in actual crypto in a crypto account, which are the riskier ones because I don't know if my money will be there. The BIDU money I know will be there unless E-Trade folds. That's where I have some BIDU. I'm getting paid for it too, like a lot. The dividend so far is like 30% or 28% or something, which is insane. I don't know if it continues, but it's there. So I'm a bull on crypto because the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and that's the only thing that's not controlled by the central bank so far. It's no different than having physical gold, which I also have. Okay, check this one out. This is amazing. This is a pattern that we've moved around so many times, and it plays out. And now it's playing out again. So anywhere in this base, I would get long. So on a dip, I could sell a put spread. I believe it was on my trade list, and we discussed it. I don't remember if I actually traded it, but you could convince me to do a credit put spread. In fact, I think it is on my list. If I go to my list here, it should be here. There it is. Yes. It is on my list. CARR. This one has resistance, so I think the bears have the advantage. And if this bounce could fade, and if they come back and take the low from last week, they could end up in the 38, 37, 36 area, which would be a much better long against this. 38 is pretty good support. Anything below 38 is pretty good. Let's go shorter term. Now you see where the sellers are. Look at that. Anywhere below 47 is going to be a hard track. If they clear this one, then I think the bulls might have a chance of taking control of it again. CCJ, copper, I don't know, coming into prior fail, which is a big fail, and the one above it. So I need to go up higher time frame. Okay, so that would be a nice trigger to get to 30 or 32 with a lot of sellers in between. You see how they're making higher lows? This looks like the S&P-ish. Only the S&P has made it to here. So higher lows, maybe they're done. Now they have support from 25.50 on lower. If for whatever weird reason they lose 23.4, they go back to the slow, which make an excellent point of entry. So I think any dip is good. And any rip is good. So BDBR, buy the dip or buy the rip. CHWY. We were saved. I took a position at 30. Sold the put spread at 30, 27.5 or whatever it was. It looked ugly, and then when it went back to even, I said you could close it if you want to. I still have mine, and because I said I don't mind owning shares, but I can't say that to people that have smaller accounts or that they want to own shares, even if they have the account that takes it. I like the business. I like the P&L. I like the fact that people will spend all kinds of crazy money on their pets. I am a pet owner, but mostly people need it for the convenience. If you're a smaller person and you can't haul a giant box of cat litter, have it delivered to your house, that's insane. Okay, dips, I think will present an opportunity to get long because it might curl up and take out 33.5. If it takes out 33.5, it gets to 36, 37. So my long doesn't profit from that. It profits from the take, the original collection. The percentage is pretty good. But if somebody is long shares or calls, I don't blame you. I see what you're doing. Did they report? I think they did. So it has resistance, and it's buy the dip opportunity for the crawl. My trade expires in about 10 days, 14 days, something like that. So I may close it halfway at 50% of maximum gains, only because I'm opening new positions. I don't want to leave a position open too long. I don't want to overstay my welcome in a winning trade. This market does not reward you for doing that. But if I constantly turn over my risk, I close one that played out, I open a new one, I close it, I open a new one, I close it, then I'm leaving money on the table. But let's say I don't close it and we have a dip, everything goes sour as opposed to half. Okay, this fell into a pretty strong support and it's bouncing hard. The question is what it does at 40.5. I think it'll find a lot of sellers there. I'm going to answer a general question now. A few people, one person I remember off the top of my head, Victoria, wants to build positions in a whole bunch of stocks. The question is, I'm looking to build position, I'm looking to build position. As long as we're not building positions into dozens at the same time, because the market will go, if it goes down, everything goes down. I don't care how good of an entry point you got. Just make sure you're covered, so you're not fully loaded at all times. I would leave room to add, and adding is not adding to risk. So if I decided to buy 100 shares altogether and that's all I wanted to own, then I leave no room to manage that position. If it gets in trouble, I'm completely in trouble. If I try to manage it and add shares, I'm doubling my problem, and that's not good. Okay, so the idea is that it fell into support and it's bouncing, but it's bouncing into resistance. Maybe when it comes back and double bounce off the support, or if it comes down to 37.50, which should be a better entry point. Costco stuck in muck. They have buyers below and sellers above. Iron Condor maybe. To get long here with a call, no. I want to remind you, what is it, the 7th? Maybe tonight they'll tell us the retail sales. Maybe they already did. So every first week of the month, Costco reports the retail comps to last month of the last month. So they have like a mini earnings headline every first. They reported it last week. How is that possible? We're the 7th. Well, I guess they did. 5.5. 1.4. Okay, so that headline, you have a month. If you want to trade with a credit spread, you have a month. Would I sell puts? Yes, I would, but only to own shares. Echo, and that's a pretty big number. So 100 shares at $470 is not for everybody. Maybe make it a wide credit put spread to where effectively you're selling puts, but with the holy crap moment covered. That's what I would do. You never know what happens. CrowdStrike has a lot of resistance above here. Anything into 132 from here on up is going to be met with a lot of sellers. And 116, if it fails, it's going to come down to 108. I don't know why you would do that. Technically, that is available. There's a lot of sellers above. That doesn't inspire me an entry point. If by some miracle they go above 141, okay, maybe they can get to 160. It looks difficult. If you want to go along with a credit put spread, I would urge you to make it an Iron Condor. CSX, definitely not an obvious entry point. It's going into a prior fail and prior fail, prior fail, prior fail. A lot of support though. So not an entry long, but if again you clear 33.4, you can get to 37. But that is a big if. But it's there. DAL. All right, so you see the lines I have here. I don't hold very good hope for airlines. Absolutely the worst business people on the planet as far as structuring their business. It's weird. Yesterday, I had to make changes to a flight, and it was a freaking nightmare. So even the ones that are good is JetBlue, and they tell you, oh, if you did it, if you use miles or points, you can't change it. You have to cancel it and reopen it. And then I go to cancel it online. It says because you did it this way, you can't do it online. Okay, so The one place they tell you you can't do it here, go online and do it. You go online and do it, and you can't do it there. And then they tell you, if you call, we're going to charge you $25, which they didn't. But it was 55 minutes. 55 minutes to make one small change. 2 people involved because the guy had to put me on hold. I don't know how they do business. It's just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Stock-wise, you're stuck between 36 and 31. You see my arrow pointing down. That is the worst case scenario. If they lose 31, it'll be 28, 27. I think to get back to 40, it's going to be pretty tough, but that will be also a lid. So you're kind of stuck. What's it going to take to break out of here, and then what's it going to take to break out of here? So if you're investing from here to here, that's fine. If you're trading, I think anything that's range bound, like maybe an iron condor or a butterfly or something like that, where you know it's going to be in some neighborhood and you play the pin. Iron condor would be what I would choose if there's enough premium. Disney. So the red path was a copy and it worked to a T. The yellow path may be unfolding. I'm not telling you to short it. I'm just saying that, okay, the buyers are in charge now. They're buying dips. Maybe that changes. Let's take that out. So big sellers above in Disney. Like this area is going to be very difficult. This area is super strong support. So it's kind of stuck for a little bit. The first battle is right here at the orange line. 102, 103. You take out 103, you can get to 108, 110, at which point would not be an entry point. So if I'm long here, fine. I do have support. I wouldn't stop out. I wouldn't add either. If I'm looking to get long and for some reason it falls to 90 or lower, it'd be very, very interesting with stops. So I see the technical reasons and hindrances. So, stuck in the middle of a huge seller and it's strong buyer. Dish, I bought puts for Monday. It's a lottery ticket. I don't know what. They're reporting earnings. Somebody asked me, there's a lot of puts. What does that mean? It's a longer conversation. If you want the answer, pop into the live room. The idea is if there are a lot of puts, then I probably wasted my money. But I literally risked pennies to see what happens with this one. I'm curious. It's just, what is happening? You look at the P&L and it looks pretty solid, and then it's trading like it's going out of business. Somebody said their business is shrinking quarter after quarter. That's possible. So maybe this is the week or the month, they say, the quarter, they say, oh, we found the answer, now we're going to 13. Or, we're going to 6 or 5. We'll see. In other words, I would steer away. You're either like betting on it, lottery ticket, or just the investment is not worth it. It pops up on the screens. It's the scans. But look at this. This does not inspire confidence. Technically, it's back to levels from 1999. So for what it's worth, that's an all-time low for me, because 1999, that's a different world. Okay, so what is 5G Spectrum? Is that a cell phone company? Regardless, Echo, I appreciate the input, but Wall Street hates it, so I would not want to touch it. I don't want to fight Wall Street if I can help it. DLO, don't know it. Payment processing. All right, Square would be my choice. This one, super strong buyer. A wall of sellers. So if I invested in it for the long term, okay. Otherwise, wow, they do have money. So what is this company? Where are they based out of? Uruguay. Okay. Square would be a choice that I would take. But you have a super strong buyer, super strong seller. If you're an investor, there's nothing to do. Devon, I would stay away from all oil companies. And I've been vindicated because all of them have drifted lower. Some have come back to life. We shorted them and they worked well. Devon is a good company. I don't have anything against it. Technically, if they lose this, which looks like pretty strong support, 45, 44. But if they lose 44, they will probably be in the 30s, 37, 35. Conversely, you have an opportunity to break out from 57. If you do that, you get to 65. So it's a technical battle, and the bears are winning it. Look at it. Let me see. Lines. Ah, there we go. So the red line came to fruition almost exactly. The purple line was definitely a wall. And I said maybe the orange line is next. And I drew it. I said the pump would curl. And the pump curled. That was the curl. If the curl continues and makes a lower low, it goes down to here. You see my comments? Much better below 40 or at 40 than 50. The sellers are in charge. Bunch of resistances. So we charted it perfectly. Perfectly. End phase. You saw me go long. The trade is flattish, greenish flat. They're selling rallies, so I figured, okay, maybe there's a rally coming, and it's into a value area. I forgot where my long is, somewhere around 115 maybe. I don't know. No, these are old comments. Maybe this one's new. 140 puts for 2 credit. 115, yeah. Thank you, Echo. FCC allocates frequency band communication auction. Okay, so if Dish owns some of those, that's an asset is what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay. I'm not that impressed with 5G. They fed us a lie. 5G is nowhere near the speed they told us it would be, like nowhere near it. At least my impression. Every time I'm at, it says 5G, and maybe it is faster than before, maybe it isn't. Anyway, so end phase fell into support, so I said, you know what, I'll own shares lower, and I sold a put at 115, and it's working. A credit put spread might work better. Oh, there it is. No, that's old also. It's 317. Let's take that out. I think I left it so I can borrow it, copy, paste. Okay. Good company, just looking for support. Support is below spread through 130. If it goes below 130, that's because the market is having a problem. EPAM. Looks like they suspended dividends. That's nothing pretty there. Whatever is going on with it is back down to that crash level. Wow, that is a violent stock. You gotta have to do homework. I mean, the P&L at face value looks okay, but there might be issues with cash. Not apparently, but I don't know why there would be dividend headlines. Anyway, be careful. Let me see if I can get you levels. It's in free fall, and the support is pretty old to be surgical. So anywhere between here and 150 is support, but that is a wide zone. That's because that's how it's trading. Etsy, it's on my trade list. I would have sold puts last week, but I chose other stocks. So look for a trade from me. I'm looking for supports. The business is healthy. It has a bounce right here. So I would be long into support. I don't care why. It's just a good stock that has a good P&L that just reported earnings falling into a prior base. I would be comfortable betting on that base or lower to hold. So it's definitely on my list of trades for next week. Okay. GE, finally, I shorted it and made money. That's my third effort. The first two failed miserably. This third effort brought me to profits. So I am short GE, and profits are in the book. So I locked profits by selling covered calls. And now, covered puts. So I own a put for 2 weeks out, and I sold puts for last week, and they expired in my favor, green. So the put I own now is very, very green, and I think I will close it this week or roll it. I think GE could be at 82, maybe 80 in the next couple of months. Just from a technical perspective, I don't hate the company or anything. So for that purpose, I may book my profits this week, but re-engage with another set of puts. I don't know. We'll see. It was a difficult trade. I should just walk away from it. But this is not an obvious entry point. I can say that with confidence, even if it goes to 110. GLD, I shorted it here. I have not reshorted. This is a dollar story, I think. Let me see here. Maybe. But I don't like to go long a stock that's going into this. and that. But if they do clear this and that, they go much, much, much higher. So I see the enticement. So this is where, if you think you're fast and you want to hold on and stop out, I can't blame you. But if you want to do that, it's better done on a dip. I'm not reshorting. We've traded gold pretty well, and I'm going to give them room to 205. Let's see what happens there. GM falling into support on a daily basis, so this is not a place I would exit. At the risk of losing 30.4 will probably get me 24 or 22. What? Yes. Unlikely scenario, but if they lose 30, 20 comes into view. See, that's the same comment. Longs. This is where you go long and you stop out if it doesn't work. Here's a shorter time frame thing. They should be able to get to 34.50 or 35, especially if the markets are green. Yeah, I saw that, Ragu. I didn't want to mention it to confuse things because there is a giant fail right in the between. So I said, that's exactly why I said I would give it room to 205, whatever number I said on the GLB. Good eye. Google. Okay. Somebody asked me, would I sell puts to own shares? Yes, I would. Hopefully on a down day. I said this is vulnerable to happen. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. These are tough candles. So let's see what happens. This box is solid because of the earnings reaction, which was pretty wide. And that gives you a clue. So if this box pays via Iron Condor, that's probably the best trade right now. Or wait for a dip to buy. Or wait for a breakout to chase. So if I'm an investor, there's nothing I can do. If I'm desperate to own some Google stock, I would just buy a handful and wait. Hood. Hood is not for me. I own 100 shares. I'm buried in them. It was a mistake I made. I keep repeating it. It is a reminder that everybody makes a mistake. It does have support. If Hood loses 7.5, it probably goes down to 6.2 or 6. It has a lot of resistance into 9 and 10. If by some miracle it goes above 10.2, it might be able to even break out of 1150. Any spike that gets me close to break even or small red, I am out. I think this one will end up getting bought. I wouldn't buy Hood for that reason. I wouldn't trade Hood. It has support, it has resistance. I would steer away from it. I would just avoid this one. The market is telling you, what are you doing? So no IDEX for me. The chart's not going to help you. What is happening here, people? Who are these stickers? Develop dynamic multi-factor ETF. What the? Okay, I don't know what to say here. 25 to 26 is not a place I would get long. Maybe dips. Now I know this company, Kraft Heinz. Why is a company so stable, stock so violent, like Pepsi and Coke and this one? You can see that it's going into a prior fail. So the optimists will see the breakout potential. Me will see the huge wall until they break it out. So I don't go long into a huge breakout potential. I go long on a dip after seeing that. So if you got long here on a breakout, great. On this dip, you should have gotten long for this. Now you're going into this candle. So not for me. If they take this out, they could go to 46 or 48, but that's a big if. So what's the plan for me? If somebody hands me this, I'll put an alert and walk away wherever I want to buy it. Here, it depends on my speed, okay? I'm not going to put an alert here because I don't want to see it. But depends on my speed. And the alert here would definitely be something that I would trade. So support, catalyst down to here if it's lost. Resistance, catalyst to about here if it's gained. KRE, that's the regional bank ETF. So Echo here today tells me that there's been insider buying in regional banks. Like I said, I'm done with banks, so this can go to hell without me. Saying that, this is a pretty big base. Here's my feeling. So last Sunday, we had a bank fail, FRC. it was taken into receivership. If nothing happens tonight, which is Sunday, then we might open with a relief pop in this sector and the whole market as well. We'll see. That FRC failure lost me money. Like I said, I'm done with it. So this one, KRE, it is falling. This stock is falling into support. And if I like this stock, this is where I would engage long, at least the lows of last week. And then I would stop out if it goes below 27.2, because I don't know how low it can go. Rallies into 56 are going to be tough. In fact, 49 might be even tough. So this is a weekly chart to like reduce the noise. All right, and with that, we end the first video.